Good evening. This is All India Radio. I am Naresh Mago and with me is Reshma Tiwari with the evening news. The headlines. Glacier burst causes avalanche and massive flooding in Chamoli district of Uttarakhand. Rescue and relief operation by NDRF, SDRF, SSB, ITBP and defense personnel in full swing. Out of 150 missing people, 12 rescued so far, 7 bodies recovered. Prime Minister Narendra Modi and Home Minister Amit Shah assure all support to Uttarakhand. National Crisis Management Committee reviews the situation. Prime Minister says people of West Bengal will witness real meaning of change when BJP comes to power in the state. Launches several development projects in West Bengal and Assam. Centre allocates 16,000 crore rupees for Pradhan Mantri Fasal Bima Yojana, up by around 305 crore rupees over previous fiscal year. And India were 257 for 6 in their first innings at stumps on day 3 in reply to England's score of 578 runs in Chennai cricket test. As the nation fights the COVID-19 pandemic, we begin with a message of precaution to stay safe and protected by following these 3 simple steps. Wear a face mask, maintain 2 gaz ki doori for social distancing, and focus on hand and face hygiene. And now the news in detail. In Uttarakhand, rescue and relief operations are in full swing in Chamoli district, where a glacial break triggered an avalanche and massive flooding of Dhauli Ganga river near Rishi Ganga power project at Rani village in Tapovan area of the district this morning. The State Disaster Management Authority Dehradun says that 7 bodies have been recovered so far from Rani, Biraji, Alkapuri and Chenaka villages. Out of 150 reported missing people, 12 persons have been rescued so far. The flash floods due to the avalanche has destroyed houses situated at the riverbank side. Several people working at Rishi Ganga hydroelectric power project were reported missing soon after the incident. 5 bridges have been damaged along with the residential and office complex of NTPC. The water level of Alaknanda river has stabilized. The teams of NDRF, SDRF, SSB, ITBP and defense personnel are actively participating in the rescue and relief operations. The Indian Air Force has also deployed its choppers for rescue operations. 2 Army helicopters are also kept on standby. According to reports, a dam of the Tapovan power project was breached and is feared to have washed away. Though the impact of the disaster may not be felt in Rishikesh and Haridwar, the towns have been put on alert. The State Disaster Response Force SDRF has deployed its teams in Joshimath, while the National Disaster Response Force NDRF has moved its teams from Haridwar to the affected areas. The Indian Air Force has also deployed its choppers for the rescue operations. Indo-Tibetan Border Police Force spokesperson Vivek Pandey said that over 200 Jawans are working in collaboration with local administration. 4 army columns, 2 medical teams and 1 engineering task force have been deployed in Tapovan area. Army helicopters are conducting aerial surveys. Uttarakhand Chief Minister Trivendra Singh Rawat took stock of the situation after reaching near Rani village in Tapovan. Talking to reporters, Mr. Rawat said that the water level has receded and the centre is in constant touch with him and has assured all possible help in the rescue operations.
अभी जो पानी की तीव्रता है वो चमोली तक पहुंचते पहुंचते काफी कम हो गई है, लेकिन जो रेलवे का काम चल रहा है अलर्ट करके उनको वहां से खाली करा दिया गया है। तो नदी के किनारे जो लोग हैं उनको अलर्ट करके उनको वहां खाली करा दिया गया है। जो रिवर राफ्टिंग होती है उसको बंद करा दिया गया है और जो शहरी बांध उससे पानी रोकने को कहा गया है। श्रीनगर जो बांध है उस पर पानी खोल देने को कहा है ताकि जो लॉन्च का जो पानी आ रहा है उससे क्षति कम से कम हो।
The state government has issued helpline numbers for people stranded in affected areas. The numbers are Disaster Operations Center number 1070 or 955 744 4486. I repeat, 1070 or 955 744 4486. Talking exclusively to All India Radio News, Director General of National Disaster Response Force NDRF S.N. Pradhan said that all the teams of ITBP, Army, State Disaster Response Force and State Police will work through the night to ensure the safety of every missing person in Uttarakhand.
अभी मैंने सेंट्रल वाटर कमीशन से लेवल रिपोर्ट लिया है, तो वो लेवल जो है खतरे के निशान से कम हो चुका है हर जगह नदी का। तो अब पानी के बहाव से तो खतरा नहीं है, लेकिन जो लोग फंसे हुए हैं या दबे हुए हैं या मलबे में फंसे हुए हैं उनको रेस्क्यू करना बड़ा चैलेंज है, क्योंकि कुछ टनल में भी लोग फंसे हुए हैं, ऐसी सूचना मिली है। और कुछ हो सकता है घर के मलबे में दबे हुए हों या कहीं भी मलबे में दबे हुए हों या मिट्टी में दबे हुए हों। इस तरह से पूरी संभावना हो सकती है, इसलिए अभी लगातार 12-24 हो सकता है 48 घंटे तक लगातार ऑपरेशन को जारी रखना पड़ेगा।
Prime Minister Narendra Modi has reviewed the situation in Uttarakhand. He spoke to Chief Minister Trivendra Singh Rawat and other top officials. Addressing a public rally in Haldia in West Bengal, the Prime Minister said he is constantly monitoring the situation in Uttarakhand.
जो मां गंगा का उद्गम स्थल है, वो राज्य उत्तराखंड इस समय आपदा का सामना कर रहा है। एक ग्लेशियर टूटने की वजह से वहां नदी का जलस्तर बढ़ गया, नुकसान की खबरें धीरे धीरे आ रही है। मैं उत्तराखंड के मुख्यमंत्री श्री त्रिवेंद्र रावत जी, भारत सरकार के गृह मंत्री जी, एनडीआरएफ के अफसर, उन सबसे निरंतर संपर्क में हूं। वहां पर राहत और बचाव का कार्य पुरजोश करने का प्रयास चल रहा है। लोगों को सुरक्षित स्थानों पर ले जाया जा रहा है।
The Home Ministry is also closely monitoring the situation. Home Minister Amit Shah said during his visit to Sindhudurg that all concerned officers are working on a war footing to ensure security of all people.
कुछ लोगों के हताहत होने की भी प्राथमिक सूचना हमें मिली है। एनडीआरएफ की 3 टीमें वहां पहुंच गई है, आईटीबीपी के जवान भी वहां पर पहुंच गए हैं, पूरे राज्य का तंत्र भी वहां पर एक्टिव हो गया, एसडीआरएफ की टीमें भी पहुंची है। वायुसेना को भी अलर्ट कर बचाव कार्य में लगाने के लिए हमने पूरी तैयारी कर ली है। मैं उत्तराखंड की सभी निवासियों को आश्वस्त करना चाहता हूं कि नरेंद्र मोदी सरकार इस संकट की घड़ी में उत्तराखंड के साथ खड़ी है।
President Ramnath Kovind has said that he is deeply worried about the glacier burst near Joshimath, Uttarakhand, that caused destruction in the region. In a tweet, Mr. Kovind said he is praying for well-being and safety of people. He said he is confident that rescue and relief operations on ground are progressing well. Vice President M. Venkaiah Naidu has said that he is praying for the safety of all those affected by the flash flood caused by a glacier burst in Chamoli district of Uttarakhand. Mr. Naidu said he is sure that the state and central governments are trying their best to mitigate the crisis. The National Crisis Management Committee NCMC today met in New Delhi to review the situation. The meeting was held under the chairmanship of Cabinet Secretary Rajiv Gauba. The meeting was attended by Union Home Secretary, Secretary of the Ministry of Power, DG ITBP, members of NDMA, DG NDRF, Chairman CWC, DG IMD and Chairman DRDO, along with other senior officers. The Cabinet Secretary directed the concerned agencies to work in close coordination and extend all requisite assistance to the state administration. He emphasized the need to account for all missing persons and ensure that those trapped in the tunnel are rescued at the earliest. He directed that surveillance should be maintained till rescue efforts are completed and the situation returns to normalcy. The Chief Secretary of Government of Uttarakhand briefed the committee through video conferencing on the ground situation as well as the actions taken by them. As per the information given by the Central Water Commission, there is no danger of downstream flooding and the rise in water level has been contained. There is also no threat to the neighbouring villages. The concerned agencies of the centre and the state were asked to keep a strict vigil on the situation, and a team from DRDO, which monitors avalanches, is being flown in for surveillance and reconnaissance. India Meteorological Department informed that there is no rainfall warning in the region for the next 2 days.
We now go over live to our correspondent Raghuvesh Pandey in Dehradun to have the latest update on the relief and rescue operation. Raghuvesh, what is the latest update on the relief and rescue operation there?
Official sources say in Dehradun that 7 bodies have so far been recovered from Raini, Birji, Alkapuri and Tinka village. 16 persons out of 150 people earlier missing have been also rescued safely. The information says that 5 bridges have been damaged along with residential and office complexes of NTPC. Water level of Alaknanda have stabilized. Teams of NDRF, SDRF, SSB, ITBP and defense personnel are actively participating in the operations. 3 troopers are stationed at Joshimath for rendering any required assistance. 2 medical teams and 2 ambulances are at the spot for providing any required medical assistance. 2 army helicopters are also kept at standby. Meanwhile, Chief Minister Triven Singh Rawat told media persons in Dehradun after visiting disaster-affected areas that Prime Minister Narendra Modi assured all possible help to the state government. Chief Minister announced 4 lakh rupees each next to kin.
Thank you, Raghavesh, for the update. Prime Minister Narendra Modi has approved an ex gratia of 2 lakh rupees each from Prime Minister's National Relief Fund for the next of kin of those who've lost their lives due to the tragic avalanche. 50,000 rupees will be given to those seriously injured.
You are listening to the evening news on All India Radio. A reminder of the headlines before we move on. Glacier burst causes avalanche and massive flooding in Chamoli district of Uttarakhand. Rescue and relief operations by NDRF, SDRF, SSB, ITBP and defense personnel in full swing. Out of 150 missing people, 12 rescued so far. 7 bodies recovered. Prime Minister Narendra Modi and Home Minister Amit Shah assure all support to Uttarakhand. National Crisis Management Committee reviews the situation. Prime Minister says people of West Bengal will witness real meaning of change when BJP comes to power in the state. Launches several development projects in West Bengal and Assam. Centre allocates 16,000 crore rupees for Pradhan Mantri Fasal Bima Yojana, up by around 305 crore rupees over previous fiscal year. And India were 257 for 6 in their first innings at stumps on day 3 in reply to England's score of 578 runs in Chennai cricket test. This is All India Radio giving you the news. For quick news updates round the clock, follow us on our Twitter handle @AIR News Alerts.
चलो मिलकर एक शुरुआत करें, चलो एक फैसला आज करें, मास्क नहीं तो टोकेंगे, कोरोना को रोकेंगे, चलो एक इरादा करते हैं, चलो कुछ वादा करते हैं, मास्क नहीं तो टोकेंगे, कोरोना को रोकेंगे.
Prime Minister Narendra Modi today launched several development projects in West Bengal and Assam. The Prime Minister addressed a public meeting in Haldia in West Bengal. He began his address in Bengali.
আমার প্রিয় মা বোন ভাইও বন্ধুরা, মেদিনীপুরের এই পবিত্র মাটিতে আসতে পেরে নিজেকে ধন্য মনে করছি. শহীদ মা মাতঙ্গিনী বিপ্লবী ক্ষুদিরাম বসুর রক্ত রক্তিম হয়েছে এই ভূমি. এই মাটিতে তৈরি হয়েছিল তাম্রলিপ্ত জাতীয় সরকার.
The Prime Minister said that the people of West Bengal will witness the real meaning of change when the BJP comes into power in the state. He said that West Bengal needs to move forward on the path of development. Citing the example of Tripura, Mr. Modi alleged that in West Bengal no development has taken place as the TMC-led state government is using all their energy to oppose the central schemes. He also assured that if the BJP comes into power in West Bengal, the party will take the decision to implement central projects for farmers in its first cabinet meeting.
भाइयों बहनों, पश्चिम बंगाल का विकास तेज गति से करने के लिए यहाँ भी डबल इंजन की सरकार आवश्यक है. करप्शन और टोलाबाजी तब हटेगी जब यहाँ आसोल परिवर्तन आएगा, जब यहाँ भाजपा की सरकार बनेगी.
The Prime Minister criticized the West Bengal government under the leadership of TMC leader Mamata Banerjee. He said those who are in favor of development have joined the BJP. The Prime Minister alleged that the people of West Bengal did not get what they've been waiting for.
ममता दीदी ने बंगाल से परिवर्तन का वादा किया। उनके इस वादे ने पूरे देश का ध्यान खींचा। लोगों ने भरोसा किया। बंगाल ममता की आंख लेके जी रहा था, लेकिन 10 साल उसे निर्ममता मिली। ममता की अपेक्षा थी, निर्ममता का शिकार हो गया। बंगाल को जो मिला है वो परिवर्तन नहीं, ये तो लेफ्ट का पुनर्जीवन है।
Later, the Prime Minister attended another program and dedicated to the nation projects related to oil, gas and road sectors worth 4,700 crore rupees. He laid the foundation stone of the second catalytic dewaxing unit at the Haldia Refinery of Indian Oil Corporation Limited and inaugurated 3 projects: Bharat Petroleum Corporation Limited, BPCL's LPG import terminal, GAIL's Dobhi-Durgapur natural gas pipeline, and NHAI's 4-lane ROB-cum-flyover at Ranichak. In Assam, the Prime Minister visited Dhekiajuli in Sonitpur district and launched Ahom Mala program with an aim to boost the state's road infrastructure and contribute to the state's economic progress and improve connectivity. Prime Minister Modi also laid the foundation stones of medical colleges and hospitals in Bishwanath and Charaideo at a cost of over 1,100 crore rupees. Speaking on the occasion, the Prime Minister said he dreams of setting up at least one medical college in each state in the country where the medium of instruction is a regional language.
आजाद भारत जब 75 में प्रवेश कर रहा है तो मेरा एक सपना है, हर राज्य में कम से कम एक मेडिकल कॉलेज, कम से कम एक टेक्निकल कॉलेज वो मातृभाषा में पढ़ाना शुरू करें। चुनाव के बाद जब नई सरकार बनेगी असम में, मैं यहां असम के लोगों की तरफ से आपको वादा करता हूं कि असम में भी एक मेडिकल कॉलेज स्थानीय भाषा में हम शुरू करेंगे, एक टेक्निकल कॉलेज स्थानीय भाषा में शुरू करेंगे और धीरे धीरे ये बढ़ेगा। ये डॉक्टर असम के अलग अलग क्षेत्रों में, दूर दराज इलाकों में अपनी सेवाएं देंगे। इससे भी इलाज में सुविधा होगी, लोगों को इलाज के लिए बहुत दूर नहीं जाना होगा।
The Prime Minister said the 2 medical colleges will be set up in the state to enhance healthcare facilities in Assam.
आज उत्तरी असम और अपर असम की जरूरतों को देखते हुए विश्वनाथ और चराईदेव में 2 और मेडिकल कॉलेजों का शिलान्यास हो गया है। ये मेडिकल कॉलेज अपने आप में आधुनिक स्वास्थ्य सेवाओं के केंद्र तो बनेंगे ही, साथ ही अगले कुछ सालों में यहां से ही मेरे हजारों नौजवान डॉक्टर बनकर के निकलेंगे।
Speaking about the recent development projects undertaken in the state of Assam, the Prime Minister said the Northeast is moving ahead on the road of development and Assam is playing a significant role in it. The Prime Minister said from independence to 2016, Assam had only 6 medical colleges, but in the last 5 years, Assam has built 6 more medical colleges. He said that the love of Assamese people is very deep and keeps bringing him back to Assam.
Union Home Minister Amit Shah today launched a scathing attack on the Shiv Sena-led government in Maharashtra. Calling it a three-wheeler government, he said all the 3 parties which are sharing power are heading in a different direction. Addressing a gathering after inaugurating a medical college built by BJP leader Narayan Rane in Sindhudurg, Mr. Shah said Shiv Sena betrayed the mandate of the people and in order to enjoy power, it went with NCP and Congress. Retorting to the claims of Shiv Sena President Uddhav Thackeray that promise of sharing the Chief Minister's post was made in a closed-door meeting, Mr. Shah said if he has to make such a promise, he would rather do it openly. Government has allocated 16,000 crore rupees for Pradhan Mantri Fasal Bima Yojana for 2021-22 to boost the safety of farmers' crops. Agriculture and Farmers Welfare Ministry said this will ensure maximum benefit of crop insurance reaches to farmers. The ministry said this is a budgetary increase of around 305 crore rupees as against the previous fiscal year of 2020-21, which reiterates the government's commitment towards growth of agriculture sector in the country. The scheme extends coverage for the entire cropping cycle from pre-sowing to post-harvest, including coverage for losses arising out of prevented sowing and mid-season adversities. Government had approved this flagship crop insurance scheme 5 years ago, on 13th January 2016. The first 6 sittings of the budget session of Rajya Sabha has been fairly productive, with the House clocking productivity of 82.10%. Government's reply to the 15-hour-long discussion on the motion of thanks on the President's address to both the Houses is scheduled after question hour tomorrow. 50 members from 25 parties participated in the discussion. Against the total scheduled sitting time of 20 hours and 34 minutes, 4 hours and 14 minutes were lost on the 3rd of this month due to disruption. The members, however, sat for an extra 33 minutes beyond the business hours. The Jammu and Kashmir Reorganization Amendment Bill 2021, seeking to replace an ordinance in the matter, was introduced. The discussion on the general budget for 2021-22 will be taken up next week, for which 10 hours have been allotted.
Union Minister of Social Justice and Empowerment, Thawar Chand Gehlot, said that the union budget is village and farmer-centric. Addressing a press conference at Indore today, he said this budget will strengthen a self-reliant India. More from our correspondent.
Union Minister said that in spite of COVID pandemic, budget provides every opportunity to uplift and accelerate Indian economy.
इस बजट की भारतीय उद्योग जगत ने प्रशंसा की है और स्वागत किया है। उन्होंने कहा कि कोविड-19 महामारी के मद्देनजर आम बजट आर्थिक सुधार और भविष्य के विकास के लिए कई महत्वपूर्ण स्तंभों को मजबूत करता है। अंत में मैं कहना चाहूंगा कि यह बजट नए भारत के आत्मविश्वास को उजागर करने वाला है।
Speaking about the health sector, he said that there has been a lot of focus on health. Budget has given an unprecedented boost to create healthcare infrastructure in the country. The new centrally sponsored scheme, PM Atmanirbhar Swasth Bharat Yojana, will develop capacities of primary, secondary and tertiary healthcare systems. Pooja P. Vardhan, AIR News, Bhopal.
President Ramnath Kovind has said that the country is proud of its doctors and paramedics who rose to the occasion during the challenge of the COVID-19 pandemic, even if it meant a great risk to their own lives. The President was addressing the annual convocation of Rajiv Gandhi University of Health Sciences at Bengaluru in Karnataka today. He said COVID-19 has inflicted agony and misery of unprecedented levels around the globe. The President appreciated the university for a better response to the outbreak.
COVID-19 has inflicted agony and misery of unprecedented levels around the globe. We are proud of our doctors and paramedics who rose to the challenge, even if it meant a great risk to their own lives. Truly, India's measured response to the pandemic has saved countless lives. I am glad to learn that this university trained over 2 lakh healthcare professionals, from doctors and nurses to administrators and hospital facility providers, to better respond to the outbreak. This campaign, I am sure, contributed immensely in creating a uniform response to provide quality care to COVID-19 patients.
Renowned neurosurgeon Dr. Alangar Satyaranjan Das Hegde was conferred the Doctor of Science honour during the function.
Government today said that more than 58 lakh beneficiaries have received the vaccination so far under the countrywide COVID-19 vaccination exercise. Union Health Ministry said in the last 24 hours, more than 28,000 healthcare workers were vaccinated. 12 states reported the vaccination activity today. Assam, Bihar, Gujarat, Haryana, Jharkhand, Karnataka, Kerala, Manipur, Odisha, Rajasthan, Tripura and Uttarakhand. Out of the total cumulative coverage, 53,17,760 are healthcare workers and 4,85,857 are frontline workers. India is now the 3rd topmost country with the highest doses of COVID-19 vaccine administered, after USA and the UK. In Manipur, 9 persons, including 3 personnel from Central Armed Police Force, have tested positive for COVID-19 in the past 24 hours. 18 people were discharged and the state recovery rate has reached 98.37%. In the last 24 hours, one woman has died due to COVID-19 infection and the total fatality in the state has increased to 373. So far, Manipur has recorded total 28,654 recoveries, while the total number of positive cases is 29,126. The number of active cases in the state is 99. On the other hand, 8,256 people, including 155 frontline workers, have been vaccinated with Covishield till yesterday evening, since the vaccination campaign was launched on 16th of the last month.
Moving ahead in its fight against the corona pandemic, Bangladesh today launched the nationwide vaccination program in Dhaka. The launch of the mass vaccination program follows the vaccine inauguration on January the 27th by Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina. Our special correspondent in Dhaka has sent this report.
The nationwide launch of the COVID-19 vaccination program in Dhaka today marked an important milestone in the country's fight against the corona pandemic. Launching the mass vaccination program, Health Minister Zahid Malik said that the vaccine was safe and people should not listen to rumors about it. To enhance public confidence, several dignitaries, including judges of the Supreme Court, took the vaccine jab today. Zahid Malik said that the vaccination program will continue throughout the year. The vaccination program has been rolled out at more than 1,000 hospitals and health centers across Bangladesh. More than 2,400 teams of health workers are engaged in the vaccination program in Dhaka and other parts of the country. More than 3.25 lakh people have registered for the vaccination program across the country till Saturday. Rajesh Jha for AIR News, Dhaka.
The News Services Division of All India Radio and its bilingual live phone-in program tonight will bring you a special discussion on COVID-19. That can be heard on FM Gold at 9:30 p.m. Director, Health Services, Andaman and Nicobar Administration, Dr. Omkar Singh from Port Blair will participate in the discussion. Listeners can ask questions to the expert on toll-free telephone number 1800-115767. You can also ask questions on telephone number 011-2331-4444.
In cricket, India were 257 for 6 in their first innings against England at stumps on day 3 of the first test at M.A. Chidambaram Stadium in Chennai. Ravichandran Ashwin with 8 runs and Washington Sundar with 33 were at the crease. Rishabh Pant scored 91 while Cheteshwar Pujara contributed 73. The hosts are still trailing by 321 runs. For the visitors, Dom Bess claimed 4 wickets while Jofra Archer bagged 2. Earlier, England were all out for 578 runs after resuming their first innings at the overnight score of 555 for 8.
Now let us take a look at the weather forecast for tomorrow. National capital Delhi is likely to experience moderate fog. The temperature will hover between 9 and 23 degrees Celsius. Mumbai will have a mainly clear sky. The minimum temperature will be around 22, while the maximum is expected to be around 34 degrees Celsius. Chennai will witness fog of mist in the morning and partly cloudy sky later. The temperature will vary between 20 and 31 degrees. In Kolkata, fog is likely in the morning and a mainly clear sky is likely later. The city will observe a minimum of around 14 and a maximum of around 27 degrees. Srinagar will have a cloudy sky. The temperature will hover between -1 and 8 degrees Celsius. Jammu will witness a clear sky. The minimum temperature will be around 7 and the maximum around 21 degrees. Leh will have a partly cloudy sky. The minimum temperature will be -12 while the maximum around 4 degrees. Gilgit will have a mainly clear sky. The temperature will hover between -4 and 17 degrees Celsius. Muzaffarabad will have a partly cloudy sky becoming generally cloudy towards evening. The temperature will hover between 5 and 16 degrees Celsius. Dehradun will observe minimum temperature of around 7 degrees Celsius and a maximum of 25 degrees. And now before we end the bulletin, the headlines once again. Glacier burst causes avalanche and massive flooding in Chamoli district of Uttarakhand. Rescue and relief operation by NDRF, SDRF, SSB, ITBP and defense personnel in full swing. Out of 150 missing people, 12 rescued so far, 7 bodies recovered. Prime Minister Narendra Modi and Home Minister Amit Shah assure all support to Uttarakhand. National Crisis Management Committee reviews the situation. Prime Minister says people of West Bengal will witness real meaning of change when BJP comes to power in the state, launches several development projects in West Bengal and Assam. Centre allocates 16,000 crore rupees for Pradhan Mantri Fasal Bima Yojana, up by around 305 crore rupees over previous fiscal year. And India were 257 for 6 in their first innings at stumps on day 3 in reply to England's score of 578 in Chennai cricket test. And with that, we end the evening news. Good night.